This is Algebra 2, spring test for week 5, part 2, picking up on number 17 on the study guide. It tells us to factor the expression. We have a trinomial x squared plus 16x plus 60. You can factor it as two binomials, so x times x. And then you want the factors of 60 that are going to get you to the b value 16. 6 and 10 are the only ones that are going to get you there, so 6 and 10. Sign in front of C tells you that they're both going to be the same. Sign in front of B tells you they're both going to be positive. So plus 6 plus 10. Which is a step back from what we were doing on part 1. Solve the equation, check your solution. Normally you please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, or you work on your parentheses, then your exponents. Remember, exponents go along with your radical symbols. But when you undo, you go backwards. So you have to take care of addition and subtraction first. So get rid of that minus 2 by adding 2 and add 2 to this side. So 11 equals the square root of k. Then get rid of the square root of something by squaring it. If you square that side, you square this side. 11 squared means 11 times itself, which is 121. This cancels out and it leaves you with k. Number 19 says solve the quadratic equation by completing the square. Remember, to complete the square, you need a perfect square value for your c, ax squared plus bx plus c. 3 doesn't work because we can't take the square root of that. So get rid of 3. It says plus 3 by subtracting it. You got to do the same thing to the other side. So now you have x squared plus 6x plus c equals negative 3. We have to find c. Remember, to find c, you take b, you divide it by 2, and then you square it. B in this case is 6. So 6 divided by 2 is 3, and that squared is positive 9. If you add 9 to that side, though, you have to make sure to add 9 to the other side, or you throw the equation off. So negative 3 plus 9 on the right is positive 6. We can factor out the other side now that it's a perfect trinomial. Take the square root of x is x. The square root of 9 is 3. The sign in front of b tells you that they're going to be plus. So x plus 3 squared equals 6. Again, get rid of, just like we did the opposite of the square root of something on the last problem by squaring it, we're going to do the opposite of squaring something right here by taking the square root of it. If you do that, do the same to the other side. It cancels it here and leaves you with x plus 3. So x plus 3 equals the square root of 6. It's not a perfect square and it can't be simplified, so we'll leave it like that. The only thing we have left to do is get x by itself. Get rid of plus 3 by subtracting it. Subtract 3 from the other side. You can't take 3 away from the square root of 6. You could simply write them next to each other, since they're not like terms, as negative 3 times the square root of 6. Number 20 says rewrite it in vertex form. Again, you have to complete the square just like we did on the last problem. So subtract 20 because c doesn't work. So what we have is y minus 20 equals x squared plus 10x plus c is what we need to find. So c again is b divided by 2. So 10 divided by 2, which is 5 squared. So plus 25. You have to add it to the other side as well. 25 and 20 together is y plus 5. 20 and negative 20, I should say. 25 and negative 20. Equals, this is a perfect trinomial now. The square root of this is x. The square root of this is 5. This tells us plus. So that binomial squared. The only other thing you got to do to make this vertex form is get y by itself. So subtract 5 from the back of the the back of it. Y equals x plus 5 squared minus 5. Vertex form. '21 says divide using synthetic division. You want the opposite number of that to divide by. Check and make sure all of your degrees are represented. 4, 3, 2, 1. No exponent. Good. So you just write all of the coefficients. The first coefficient is 1. The next coefficient is negative 13. The next one is 48. The next one is negative 47. And the last one is positive 35. Bring the first one down. It doesn't change. Then multiply that times 5. Combine negative 13 and 5 and you get negative 8. Multiply that times 5, you get negative 40. Combine 48 and negative 40, you get 8. Multiply that times 5 and you get 40. Combine that and negative 47 and you get negative 7. Multiply that times 5 and you get negative 35. And our remainder, when you combine 35 and negative 35, is 0. Now that you have these numbers, put the variables and the exponents back, attach them back to it. The way you do that is you go 1 degree less than the highest one. That says x to the 4th power. So your first one is 1x to the 3rd power. Minus 8, you just count down now, x to the 2nd power. Plus 8x to the 1st power. Minus 7 with no x variable. Synthetic division. '22 says simplify the difference. 2w squared minus 4w squared, negative 2w squared. Negative 8w minus 5w, negative 13w. Negative 6 minus negative 4. Minus a negative means plus, so negative 6 plus 4, negative 2. '23 says simplify the product. Distribute this. 4 times 3 is 12. A times A, you add the exponents. 7 plus 3 is A to the 10th power. 4 times negative 2 is negative 8. Different variables this time, A and B. So you do not add the exponents. You simply write A to the 7th, B to the 3rd. '24 says multiply and simplify if possible. We can multiply 18 times 6 and get a big number, or we can realize that 6 is a factor of 18, and we could separate 18 into 6 times 3 and bring our other one down to square root of 6. Anytime you multiply the same radical by itself, you can pull it out and just call it the radicand 6 without the radical symbol times the square root of 3. Could have also multiplied the square root of 6 times the square root of 6 and gotten the square root of 36 and then simplified that to 6 the same way. Then it says graph the equation y equals 1/3 x plus 1. Y equals mx plus b. B tells you where to begin. It's 1. Your y-axis tells you to begin, or your y-intercept tells you to begin at 1. Your m value, 1/3. M is 1/3. Remember, it's rise over run, tells you to go up 1 and right 3 times. So up 1 and right 1, 2, 3 times for your second point. You have 2 points. You can draw your line through both of them. The equation's graphed.